Today we had about a 60-degree day, mostly overcast, but we had some major swarming activity going on outside the hive.
Okay guys, I really don't think this should be happening. There's layers of bees all over the place. Yeah. Pretty sure it's swarming right now. This is not good.
Word is that they're pretty docile when they're not in a hive, so this should be pretty straightforward. So the plan right now is to take my handy dandy bee brush and cardboard, sort of, what do you call it? I guess you could call this a dustpan of sorts, and just scoop them into this box, vegetable box that has a few holes in it, and keep them in this cardboard box overnight. With the hope that tomorrow I'll go get a second hive, preferably used from maybe a neighbor of mine up the street who has had a Warre hive that I don't think he's had bees in for a while. So we got two colonies right now, which is a great thing. Just to be on the safe side, I've got my smoker here. I've loaded it up with some wood chips and a bit of paper. I'm going to light that so I have smoke to keep the bees hopefully docile. They'll be that way anyway. So this is just emergency preparedness. Hopefully we won't even need it. So that's the plan. Tracy's going to be camera operator outside from a safe distance, and maybe even Liam will be in the mix too. So we're going to go see what we can do. So let's do it. It's like a curtain, isn't it?
Yeah, here, let's get it really close. Wow, that's so cool. Okay. Hey, no, you gotta keep it. Okay.
What do you think? Wow, it is like it's like a beard of bees, isn't it?
These guys all. Oops, sorry guys.
God, that is a lot of bees. Holy shiznit. You know, the main thing is to not hurt them, right?
I know.
Then they'll start to get angry. See, they're peeling off here. This looks okay. See this?
Get it low. You know, my finger.
You smell there's some kind of a pheromone or something that they seem to be emitting. Can you notice that or not? Yeah, I think you probably should.
Oh.
Okay, it's okay. Did you get stung? Yeah. Just go, hon. It's okay. I don't want you to be... I just got stung through my glove. Damn it.
Want me to smoke?
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. Do you think the others will just make their way into it on their own? What do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, how many do you actually need to get?
We just need to get the queen.
And what are the chances that we have her, do you think?
God, who knows? I was trying to get all of them if you can.
Okay.
That one stings. Just like
Hurts, doesn't it? Yeah, I got one as well, and it felt like it was through the leather, but that seems unlikely. Can you smoke me again in the box?
Yeah.
Just to calm them down? think I'm going to get much more here. I feel like I should call it good. What do you think?
Okay.
That looks like a boatload of bees, doesn't it? Okay. All right.
Are we gonna leave it out with the box out so that they can get in, or how?
Oh shoot. Okay, that's probably good. I'm getting smoked. How does this box work anyways? I should have taken note of that. Does it go this way first? I don't
I
even
think so.
One down and then
Yeah, that's
like
it.
this.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe there's a decent chance that the rest of them will just go in there. You think? Because they got cover now?
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. We did it. Great job, hon. You're brave. You're much braver than me. Okay. Oh, geez. All right, that'll be fun to see in the morning. It's about 8:30 in the morning, and it's actually a little bit on the chilly side, which is good because they're already quite active. I'm guessing it's probably around 45 degrees out. Looks like there's a smaller cluster that still remains on the side of the log that I'm going to go try to brush into the box, so we're maximizing our chances of having captured the queen. I don't know what the story is on it, but it smells like, not like lemongrass, a little bit like lemongrass, a little bit like banana, and I don't know what that's about, but it feels to me like there's probably, I would say, a couple, maybe a pound and a half of bees in that box now. So I think that's gonna bode well. I've got lots of these girls crawling all over me. We're just gonna do a little portable here. I just want to give a quick view inside of this box. You can see a majority of the bees are inside the box now, or on the box. And if I open this guy up just a little bit here, let me show you guys what's inside. They're mostly clustering underneath in here. Yeah, there's a mega cluster hanging out right under there. You can see if I shake it. And if I lift this up, it feels like, oh yeah, that's actually, I would say at least a couple pounds of bees there. And yeah, they seem pretty content in there. They're hanging out there and bearding underneath that, which is a good sign. So hopefully they'll just continue to hang out until I come back with the new hive. So that is the next step. I don't know why I always get shaky and nervous around bees. I need to do this more often, I guess, and then I'll become more comfortable. So, yeah. In the few hours it took for me to acquire a new hive, the bees left the box, which was highly disappointing, but not all that surprising. So it was a lesson learned to be prepared in the future for these types of events. We finally have gotten our act together. Took a bunch of finagling, but we've got a new hive. It's a new used hive, or I guess you could say a combination hive. I'm just about to head off to work, and I'm biking in, so I'm psyched that the sun is shining. And right now the message and the plan here is, you can see we've got our new hive. It's a flow hive that's based on a Langstroth design. The flow technology is going to come later, and we'll talk about that maybe later on in this video, or maybe the next. But what's going on here is I've just got one box here, 14 by 20, and it's got frames in it with foundation and a couple bars that we've kind of handcrafted as a way to lure a swarm. And we're not sure if the swarm that we already lost is oh, and that's interesting. That's definitely a fight that's going on there. I'm sure you guys can see that, but that's definitely one bee. Oh no, it's one bee, healthy bee, carrying an almost dead bee out of the hive. Interesting. And far away. Wow, that's wild. So what we're thinking is, this is kind of a bait hive as opposed to a real hive, and we just want to reduce the likelihood of, if we do get another swarm event, that they're going to fly away. So I put some lemongrass oil on this landing board and a little bit of paper towel with lemongrass on it inside this hive, and with any luck that will attract a swarm if they decide to swarm. So maybe what I'll do next is try to just set this up so that we you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just going to try to tilt this down. Hopefully that won't fall over. And that way you guys can see what I'm seeing here. So I'll just take this apart quickly to show you guys what's going on. So that's our roof. This is the top cover essentially. And then inside here you can see we've got the bars. So these are your standard Langstroth. This is foundation. It's plastic with 2 coats of beeswax on both sides. So that's strong, it's quick and easy for them to start building comb on. And normally in this case you have 2, 4, I think it's an 8 frame setup, but what we've done. Here you can see a close-up view of our handcrafted top bars to lure the bees. Hey, just taking another look here. It's Wednesday morning, about 11 o'clock, and you can see here our bees are starting to show signs of activity, and as of yet we haven't had anybody move in or show much of an interest in the new hive, and that might be just because it's been still pretty cold. Hasn't even got above 50 for a couple days now, but the hive here looks like it's really quite full. Most of the bees are still inside on all 3 levels. Doing my normal clean out here. This is the bottom screen, which used to be core flute material. Now it's just plexiglass. And if you look closely here, you can see we've already got signs of Varroa mites that are, affecting some of the population. Those are the little brown dots that you see, and then obviously these large hunks are pollen. And there might be some other odd things here. But overall, after one day of activity, I'm not hugely surprised to see that much stuff there. And so with that noted, I'm just going to try to swipe all that stuff off. I normally use a straight edge tool for that, but I don't have it with me right now. I just like to do this as often as I can, like once a day. It just helps me keep a better sense of what's going on in the hive, what they're bringing in, and what's falling off the bees in terms of parasites and stuff. So I might end up doing my mite away strips again here this spring, and that's something that in the past I put on the bottom of the hive, just on top of this when I slide it in, even though they say you should put it on top. I just figure it's less opening up and messing with the hive. So we'll see how that goes, but so far, yeah, as you can see, lots of in and out activity here, and some very mellow bees on the stump. Not sure if they stayed out overnight and they're just coming out of their torpor state, or if they have something else going on. But yeah, very few bees have checked out the new hive there. I think some of them land there and smell the remnants of the lemongrass oil that I put there. And so yeah, really the next thing that I'm really looking forward to is I placed an order through the local beekeeping company here that is in Portland, that's called Bee Built, that took over from Bee Thinking, which is a company that was in Portland that went bankrupt. And so what I bought from them was a 4th Warre box, and certainly pretty basic construction, but I just don't have the time to make it myself, so I went ahead and ordered one with bars included. So I'm hoping that arrives today. I actually expected it yesterday. The reason I want that so badly is that what I can basically do, I think they call it nadiring, which means adding another new box on the bottom, and that's going to reduce the pressure of this Warre hive to swarm, and that would be good. And so depending on when that arrives, I've got to assemble it, I got to oil it, and then I've got to go through the operation of lifting all 3 of these off, putting the new one on the bottom, and then putting the 3 back on top. So that'll be a fun operation. Hopefully that'll happen by end of day today. I certainly won't do it when they're active, because I think in the next hour or 2 it's going to get really active here. So we'll see how we go. So that's where things are at right now. I just need to do a bit more prep work to take care of some of these other older flow remnants that need a bit more sanding and finishing. And I also need to build a frame, a metal frame for this new flow hive. We're going to position it over about I don't know, 10 meters or so to the east, and we're going to face it kind of south and west, just like this hive is, because that seems to, for our location, have worked pretty well. So that's the game plan. So we'll hopefully get some of that documented as we make our progress. And I thought more about it in that first swarming event that we had last Saturday afternoon. it's possible that maybe that swarm didn't emanate from our hive and it actually came from some other location, and maybe they were just attractive. It's just impossible to know for sure because I wasn't here watching it all day. And nobody really can do that anyway, unless you're like a monk or something, I guess. Yeah, it should be really obvious to the average person, even if you're not much of a bee expert, that the drones have much bigger eyes. Much bigger eyes. If you look closely, you'll probably see, I've seen at least half a dozen in there that have much bigger eyes than the workers, who are female, of course. And the body size of the drones is significantly larger as well. So anyway, that's the lowdown there. See how things evolve. I'm gonna go try to work on a stand now. And so far so good. I'm pretty stoked I haven't been stung since our Saturday night adventure. Zoe, of course, likes to keep a big, wide berth from the beehive. She gets really scared of the bees. And I guess I can't blame her entirely, but I think her fear is even more irrational than mine. If I were to just give you guys a quick view over here, you can see she's having some fun over in the grass. Loves to sniff around and loves to roll around. And periodically loves to bomb out and, you know, do what dogs do. There she goes. I don't know what it is that she loves about the grass and sniffing like that, but she likes that. What do you say, Zoe? You want to come say hi to the bees? Come on. Come on over. Good dog, Zoe. Come on. Why don't you come on over here? Alright, so I guess we'll just let it be for now. And actually, that's not even an intentional pun of mine at all, but it truly is. Alright, so let's just let that ride, I guess. Everything here seems kosher. I'll just leave the filming going here a bit. You guys can watch the bees do their thing. They're just kind of checking things around. They don't seem too interested in the comb here, which I really find interesting. I guess they just have so much filled comb in the hive. It's like, why bother with this? But anyway, we'll just have to see how things go and take it one step at a time.
I will wade into the deep. I'll challenge you, boy, every time. And I won't fall, and I won't waver. I'll be right there by your side.
This is kind of an exciting day. It's Peter here again, and I think I might have just spotted a colony of bees. I don't know if they're swarming. So basically you can see, I think this is a Doug fir that's been lopped off, probably about 40 feet off the ground here, and that's been like that for at least a couple years. And looking up that way, it seems to me, oh, I see it. I can see it right there. It's a swarm right there clustered on that branch. That is really obvious, and that is definitely a swarm. The question is, how in the world are you going to get that? Or rather, how in the world am I going to get that? Because that's about, I'd say 15 feet off the ground, but that is most certainly a swarm. So as it turned out, I wasn't able to get in contact with my neighbor before the swarm left. They were probably only there for about another half an hour, which was too bad. But it was another lesson learned about how ethereal swarms can be. And this little pan here to the left shows how I saw the swarm from off to the north there, from the upper level of our house, looking back here. So maybe we'll see him again in the future. Hey guys, this is Peter again, here in Portland, Oregon. It's about 4 in the afternoon on the 25th of April. And I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update here. We've had definitely our hottest day of the year. It's been close to 85 degrees, which is quite a pulse up in warmth from just 5 days ago when it was only about high of 55. And as you can see here, the bee activity is really quite intense. What we're seeing here, I think, would be described by most as bearding activity, especially off the landing board here. There's a big old cluster here on the bottom, and then you can see they're hanging out all over the lower 3 supers of our Warre hive here. And I guess just taking a closer look as before, we're seeing mostly workers here. Probably 80% of the bees that are here are workers. But if you look closely, maybe 20% are drones, and they're easy to spot because they have much bigger eyes and much bigger bodies. For a while, we're like thinking as we came back, like maybe this is another swarm that's come and is hanging out, but I'm pretty sure that if this was another swarm, there would be some violence and battling activity going on. And so we're still on the hunt for a swarm. We've missed 2 in the last week-ish of time, and so we're hoping we'll have a third chance soon before it gets too much warmer. Because over here behind me, you can see is our flow hive. I've got that stand all ready. Guys, so here's just a close-up view of just how many bees are hanging out here in this bearded cluster. See, it's really a pretty amazingly sized chunk, and they aren't really too fussed with me. I'm keeping enough of a distance that I guess they don't see me as a threat. They apparently can detect CO2 coming from your exhalations, so people that get really worked up and breathing heavily, they sometimes will see that as like, oh, let's go after them. They must be the cause of our problem. But right now they're happily just doing their thing, leaving me alone. Okay guys, so from this angle, hopefully you can see the bees up a little more closely. And as I said before, the fact that there's a lot of drones here, maybe like, I don't know, 10-15% of the overall population that's hanging out, seems to suggest to me that we may actually have a swarm come out of our hive here. Like, in other words, a queen that is either just recently hatched and wants to go and get mated and start up her own colony. Normally in swarming behavior, though, what happens is the queen that is overwintered is the one that makes the decision to head out because the space is too crowded. And when that happens, upwards of 50% of the workers will go with her, and they'll gorge on as much honey as they can before they do that. So it's good, we're just hoping we'll be around if and when that happens. But yeah, it's going to be even hotter tomorrow, so hopefully between my 2 kids, they'll be able to keep tabs on things and take action if necessary, if we do have a swarm. It's been a couple days since I checked in. What I thought I would do is just a quick video talking about the plague that we call Varroa mites, and I'm going to do a treatment here today, and I figured I'd show you how I do it to try to knock down the population of this parasite that does nothing good for bee colonies. So what I'm holding in my hand right here now is my lower screen board that goes right underneath the bottom of the hive, beneath the mesh screen. It catches all of the things that fall down through the hive through the course of their daily lives. And it's probably been about 2 days since I've taken a look at it. What I normally do is try to come once a day, pull it out, have a look at it, and then I'll just use a little drywall knife or something to scrape it clean and pop it back in. I find it's just a really quick and easy way to get a pulse on what the bees are bringing in and what kind of things might be affecting them. And so if I bring this a little bit closer here, I'll give you guys a look. You can see in this view, if I try to hold this still, all of the little dark brown bits, like for example this guy right here, that would be an example of a Varroa mite. The lighter yellow is obviously pollen, orangey stuff's pollen. There might be a little bit of mold even there too. You can see that black colored stuff. So anyway, I'm just looking at that and I'm seeing on that whole entire 10-inch by 12-inch plexiglass, I'm guessing probably at least 100 mites that are dead. And so if there's that many dead ones, then I'm sure there's a heck of a lot more live ones on the bees in the hive. So it's something I haven't done in the past, and I definitely don't take using any kind of medicine on the bees lightly, because I feel like using medicine in some ways just prompts a response on the part of whatever the disease is, the pest, the fungus, whatever, to become even more resistant to it. And so I get that, but at the same time I don't want the colony to get weakened at this point when the nectar flow and pollen is really at its strongest maybe of the whole entire year. So now that I've scraped this guy off, I'm reasonably clear and clean for reinstalling that. The product that I've used here for the last couple of years is called Formic Pro, and it's a product that's made in Canada. It's about 42% formic acid, which, if you're not aware, is the smell of squished ants. And I've learned that ants apparently have a high concentration of formic acid in their bodies. So it's, in this case, extremely potent, and there's all kinds of, keep out of reach of children, danger, poison. So I try to always give it a wide berth and not ever be directly above it, because it does off-gas quite a bit. And so my plan is for today, using one glove because I don't want to handle it directly, but my plan today is to simply put one of these formic pads right on the very center of this bottom board. In the instructions, it recommends that you put it inside the hive on top of some of the bars within a super. But things are going really well in there right now, as I'll show you in a minute, and I don't want to disturb them. As I've learned from past seasons, the less that I open up that hive, it seems the healthier it is, the colony is. So pretty straightforward. Even though all of these things are individually sealed, I can still right now smell that residual sort of, it's like a cloud really of the formic acid. And here you can see it talks about it. Formic Pro is the name, and I ended up having to buy all this excess supply last fall. It's 2 doses or 10 4 strips. In this case here, I think we've got 20 strips or 10 doses. And it says for your treatment, option 1 is 2 strips for 14 days. Or option 2, first strip for 10 days and remove and replace with the second one. So from past experience, what has amazed me is how quickly the population of Varroa mites does get knocked down with this treatment. So we'll just go ahead and set our board here, and let's see, hopefully everything is still in frame. And we just, you can see it's all wrapped up in plastic, but I still can smell to a reasonable degree the scent of that formic acid. And even the bees, I would have to think, do not like the smell of this stuff. It's really damn potent. But even though they don't know it, it is good for them. So it's the right thing to do. So I'm just going to get a general, yeah, that's really potent. And what I've done in the past is with my little handy dandy drywall knife, I've kind of poked little holes in the material They say that you shouldn't have to unwrap it, but for me I feel like if you unwrap it, and you can see we've got 2 strips here, so hell, I guess we'll go ahead and go double. Go big or go home, they always say, right? So we'll just go ahead and put 2 of these down, and I'm just kind of piercing it a little bit here and there, trying to create just a little bit more potential for that formic acid to off-gas out and eradicate those mites. The platform that I made I think has been good. Elevates the hive off the stump, and so I can hear some humming going on. So all I'm looking to do now is to simply push this guy back in. And, ooh, God, yeah, I can really smell it now. The bees have had, guessing about 12 hours of time with the Varroa treatment, the formic acid, and a little bit concerned because a lot of them seem to have camped out for the night because that was so bad. And the concern I have is because of that, a lot of them I think have died. Now granted, some of that could be just torpor, which is the state they go into when they're really cold, but I have a feeling that some of those ones on the bottom of the hive there and the stump have died overnight, in which case I'm feeling pretty guilty about that. Possibly after the sun comes up today and gets on them, they will come around, but they seem awfully oh, there was a tiny bit of movement on them, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty guilty about this because all of these ones down here are most certainly dead, and to think that I was the cause of that really makes me feel pretty awful. All in the name of getting them to be have less Varroa mites on them. So yeah, kind of disturbing, but at the same time, maybe that's the right thing to be doing. I don't know. God, it's frustrating. This whole beekeeping thing at times, I feel like I'm always second guessing myself. You can see overnight a lot of condensation has occurred and it's just dripping here out of the hive, but all these guys look to be definitely dead, so we'll just clean them off, let them biodegrade naturally along with all the others we have at the base of the hive here. And now the big question, of course, is what we're going to see. Granted, there are some live bees coming out right now, so I have to think that that's a good sign. And it's possible, I guess, that the majority of the cluster is in there still, but yeah, alright, so here we go. We'll start out by looking in the bottom box, the newest box, and it looks like lots of condensation and hardly any bees, and oh my god, a lot of dead bees. Wow. You can see tons of them along the bottom mesh board, so I don't know what the hell was going on with that. Maybe I made a terrible mistake here, I don't know. I see a fair amount of bee activity there, but yeah, it's just really hard to know. I'm feeling like maybe that was too much. You can see they're clustered pretty heavily up in here, which is a good sign. And then all the way on top, let's see what we got here. Oh geez, did I make the wrong decision? Okay, yeah, plenty of warmth up here. So that's the... Now the million-dollar question is, was all this worthwhile? As I pull this lower strip out, we're going to see, hopefully, what the status of the die-off was of the mites. And right now I don't see hardly any. Oh no, I guess I do see a fair bit, but honestly not many more than normal. Yeah, maybe the potency of and the concentration of that was just too high for them to tolerate. I don't know. But if we go here, yeah, it seems like it was about the same amount of stuff as, yeah, I would say maybe the same amount of Varroa mites as before, so maybe I was overreacting. God damn it, I don't know. All I know is that it seems like in my beekeeping career, I've been best served by doing less intervention, not more. So maybe this is a lesson learned that I should not have gotten so hands-on with this. So I might just put these back in their Ziploc and hope for the best that the bees will return and things will be okay. I've never in my life paid so much for a single insect. A queen bee, she's a hybrid, Saskatraz. She's been marked, which is great because in the future it'll hopefully be a lot easier to see her in the hive. And she's definitely, well, right now you can see she's surrounded by maybe 5 or 6 other attendants. Just trying to get a little shake on her so you can see her abdomen is markedly longer than the others. So yeah, they're probably a little bit out of sorts. They were flown in, I think, either yesterday or the day before. And yeah, you can see the size of the queen. She's a lot bigger than the others with that red dot on her back. So hopefully that'll last, and with any luck we'll be able to spot her throughout the months to come, and if we're lucky, really lucky, the years to come. So now we're going to get into the mode of suiting up and getting her placed in the hive, and just seeing if we can spot any other queen cells in the hive, because my theory right now is that the hive is queenless, but because of swarming activity, but I just don't know that for sure. So that's why we're doing this as an insurance policy, and the idea is there's a cork exit here, and then there's actually, I thought that there's a cork exit on both ends. I was under the impression that there would be candy, so I guess I need to make that happen myself, because the idea is over the span of a few days all the other bees in the colony will get used to her and respond to whatever she's pheromone she's given off and other forms of communication. And by the time they get through one of these 2 plugs, life will be good.
If it goes the way that I look, you know I got a recipe, yeah, you know I can cook. And I go but on a good intent, you know I am if I'm bound, but I surely will be on getting the job done like I know I should. Get the job done like my mama told me to. Only one thing can remember, she said, you gotta earn all of your respect. And I don't care a race or what color or creed, I say all that shit don't bother me. Only one thing that you should not forget, you gotta treat your mama with respect. And I don't give a passion just dialing on your head. I don't care about the car, the clothes you do wear. Only one thing that you should not forget, you gotta treat your mama with respect. Treat your mama with respect. You better treat your mama with respect. Slap you upside down like hell. You don't treat your mama with respect. Treat your mama with respect. You better treat your mama with respect. Slap you upside down the head and you don't treat your mama.
So I took a risk because unfortunately I didn't have a queen excluder last time I was in that hive. If I had, I could have put a queen excluder here, assuming she was working in the lower boxes, which hopefully she is. So what I've done is I put our new queen, the Saskatraz, I think is what she's called, down on the oh, here, and our first bee just came out of the hive. That's a wonderful sign. Hey girl. So this is the key question is, will this transplant work? I'm not positive how many bees actually were in this super. I'm guessing, I don't know, hopefully several hundred, but the good news is it's just chock full. It's absolutely packed with seasoned honey. So hopefully the bees that are there will feel like, hey, okay, let's make this our new home instead of flying back over to the Warre, 10 meters over to the west. So what I'm going to do is just come down here with my chair and just watch them for a while and see what happens. I mean, it may well be the case that robbing could happen, where basically all these bees fill up, take the honey from these combs and fly over to the original home base, maybe so close that they'd be confused. But my hope is that with the pheromones that the new queen is giving off here, that might just be enough of a temptation for them to stay and realize, oh, okay, we should call this place home and accept this queen. So we'll give it a couple days, and then we'll go in and take a look, remove the little cork plug, and so that the bees can start chewing through the candy plug. And with any luck, they'll hopefully start making this work. And incredibly, the dimensions are pretty close, so I was able to just stack it. A few little wood shims on the front and back to keep them contained, and then there's a little center hole right in this top little filler piece here that allows them to come and go. And so we have foundation, Langstroth frames here, so it's going to be an interesting test. I hope it works. It's a 95-degree day in Oregon. It's one day before the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. It's a bittersweet day because we did lose a queen earlier this in the spring. A new queen has now taken up residence there and is doing well. So down by our new hive here, this is what's really exciting. I kind of call this our hybrid hive because it's 2 Langstroth boxes with a Warre box on top. And it's sitting in the shade of our palm tree right now. And if you come down closely and maybe zoom in on the landing board, this landing board much bigger than the Warre. And as you can see here, lots of activity, not nearly as much as our other one, but that's to be expected because when we popped this honey super on top up here, it only had maybe 100 or 200 bees in it. But I'm pretty sure the queen is in there doing her thing now, and I haven't opened up the boxes in about a week, but I'll probably do that maybe in another month or so. We've got a marked queen in there. She's a Saskatraz hybrid, so there's some guarding behavior going on, which is always a good sign. And yeah, in another month we'll open it up and give you guys a view, and longer term, if things go really well, we'll end up popping the Flow Hive Super on top of this, which we're really excited about. And these plants here right next to the hive are sedum. If you zoom in close here, that's going to be a great source of late season nectar. All those succulents are going to bloom and the bees are just going to be crazy all over it, which should be great. So thanks to you guys for hanging in there. I know this has been a long video and I've learned a lot, and that's the nature of beekeeping. You just learn by doing. So please like, comment, subscribe, share, and appreciate you watching my bee videos. So we'll see you next time.